Welcome, everybody, to our third episode of Cats Chat Pod. So excited to be back with you guys after last episode having Jeff Shepard on. It was a wonderful time. You guys were wonderful with the shares, the follows, the everything that you all did, the likes. We appreciate so much. Mark, hopefully your day has been great. Your week's been great since the last time I seen you, even though we're brothers, live really close. We don't get to see each other quite a bit.
You know, I've explained that to people before. They think because we all live in the same area, we just I don't know. They must think we have cookouts every day or something. But I'm like, no, we don't see each other often. We all have our own families. We're busy. Everybody getting ready for school to start back. So, yeah, it's been a pretty good week. Just trying to enjoy the last week of freedom before it's back to the grind.
I understand. Unfortunately, I don't have to worry about that because the grind don't stop when you work retail. But, we know everyone that's here watching the podcast right now is not wanting to see us or even hear from us. So we'll go ahead and get into it and bring up our special guest on this. Mark, I'll let you do the introduction because you have that pure voice.
Yeah, from the University of Kentucky, your associate head coach, your tight ends coach, your recruiting coordinator, and your NFL liaison, Mr. Coach Vince Marrow.
How you guys doing? Busy day this week. It's day 4 for practice and got NFL scouts. So I'm trying to do a lot of different things, but I'm very happy to join you guys' show and look forward to spending some time with y'all.
We appreciate it so much, Coach. We know you're busy, especially this time of year. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Coach, was just I know you and Coach Stoops grew up together, correct?
Yeah, I've been knowing Mark since Mark was probably 12 or 13 and I was 11. My older brothers played for his uncle at an inner city school in Youngstown, Ohio, and it's probably the first time I met Mark. And then we ended up going to high school together, playing basketball and football, and his dad was our high school coach.
Awesome.
That's kind of neat. So you kind of know his whole family then.
Yeah, our families are pretty close. It was a lot of kids. We were kind of similar. We joke about it. We were the white versions of the Stoops, and they were the white version. We were the black version of the Stoops, and they were the white version of the Marrow. So we always we were like kind of close in age and stuff. So
gotcha.
That's awesome.
Each kids. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm sorry my headphones weren't working as soon as I brought you on there, so I couldn't hear a little bit. But we're Mark and I are brothers, as we mentioned there. We're not your regular sports media interviewers like that. We like to get to know each other as families, more or less. Like I alluded to earlier, there's a rock on top of Mark's house when he was first building his house that I needed his attention. He still didn't have a phone, so I just tossed the rock on there, got his attention, and So I love hearing this about you guys. I know I seen a video the other day of just you and Mark hanging out. I think it was with Kentucky Sports Radio. I really loved the chemistry that you guys have, and digging in some more information, I'm seeing how close of a bond that you all have. Is that something that spews over to how you all act with your teammates or your players and everything too?
Yeah, I'm Mark's the head coach, and I'm up under him, and even though we're friends, I still have respect for the dynamics of the job. Mm-hmm. But we're pretty similar. We come from Youngstown, Ohio. We really have values the way we deal with our players and how we just deal with people, period. And I think Mark's a player coach. Guys love playing for him. Mm-hmm. I think the culture is very good here.
Absolutely.
With the transfer portal you have, we not really lost guys that we really didn't want to, lose. Sometimes Mark, guys left because they had an opportunity to go somewhere else and start. And one thing about Mark, he's always about the players. So if they got a better opportunity, he's going to be for that now. But that can hurt you in depth sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's about the players, man.
I think that's one thing that's kind of always, led me to love the fact that you and Coach Stoops work so well together is the love you guys have for these kids. I'm a high school math teacher, so I always like to do, just give everything I can to these kids so they can be the best version of themselves. And I think that's kind of what drew me to, like I told Michael, I said, if we're going to interview anybody, I want to interview Coach Marrow.
I feel privileged. I'll tell you what though, man, you must be a really smart guy because being a math teacher, that's that's big time stuff, and that was one of my hardest subjects. So
he fakes it. It's a calculator, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah, you gotta be pretty bright, man.
The Lord has blessed me with a little knowledge. It's only a math, though. I can tell you that.
Okay, well, hey, you got to take what he can give you.
Exactly.
Let's be honest. Our mom was a math teacher too, so it's all from mom. That's where it all came from.
Okay, all right.
But let's get in a little bit to the football part of it. A lot of predictions been going on as far as the record, what we project, blah, blah, blah. But as a coach, I know you can't really say that because you expect to be undefeated all year. So I want to ask you, what are your expectations for this team? What's your all's sky limit of excelling this year?
Oh, well, you must really don't know me. Sometimes Stu's got to he has to be like, oh man, why you say that in that interview? Because I'm always how I feel. I think our message to our team, but even to the fans, but more to the guys, the 100 and whatever got 85 guys we got in that building, is that we plan to go to Atlanta. That's if you're not fighting that, then why are you in this business? I think we are very close. I think if you guys followed us, you will know that we've been very close, winning 10 games, winning 9 games. When have you ever thought when we win 7 games that would be a disappointment? But that's where our standards are at now. And I just feel that, we building with, having Liam Cohen back and having Brad and, I think the core of your coordinators and having Jay Bolt where, people say, I think we got 4 of the best coordinators in college football. And, me being the recruiting coordinator, Jay, the special teams coordinator, and Brad and Liam, defense and offense, I think we do have a great core, and I think our staff is pretty good. So we gearing up to go, go take it and take it by storm because we got some things we have to, how I want to say this. I think we have some things that felt unsettled last year. We're looking at some things, a lot of games that we need to go and win, and I feel really good with the team we got.
I know. Go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead.
I just, one thing, difference in the past, run heavy, pass heavy on different years in and out. Having Cohen back, which you kind of mentioned already, what can we expect on the offensive side at least? Are we going to be more balanced? Are we going to stick to our run? The big blue wall might be back. What's the offense going to be looking like, especially with your tight ends too?
If you know anything about, where we from, Youngstown, and the head man being who he is, we have blue collar guys, and I think our team's always going to take the identity of the head coach. And last year we just didn't like that. We always going to run the ball. We always going to run the ball. But I think if you look at what we did in 21 when Liam was here, I think you'll see a variation of that. But we have some really, like you said, we're really balanced offense, and we have some real good skill. And I think we addressed the O-line. I feel really good about the 4 guys we brought in, along with the guys we had. So, that wasn't going to sit well with Mark Stoops. So, immediately when the season was over, me and him had conversations, and we looked and said, what do we need to address? And we went out and immediately addressed it. I don't think what people understand, the 2 guys we got in the portal, the 2 tackles, them guys were very highly sought after guys in the portal. Trust me.
Yep. I think that's one thing that's always amazed me with you guys is your ability to recruit and get people to come in and buy into just the family atmosphere. Like it, I remember, I remember the Kentucky football when you were just hoping we'd beat a rival. That's all you were hoping for the entire year.
Yeah.
And you guys have created an atmosphere that's absolutely awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When I first got here, man, I'll never forget it in 13 when I think we finished like 26 or 20. We finished out of the top 25 and recruiting like 26 or 27. And I remember the fans and the media were going nuts. Like, wow, this is pretty good because before that, I think the highest they ever was ranked like 50 something. And they constantly was like even in the 60s sometimes. And so I remember we was like 26 or 27. And when I had the recruiting, it was signing day and they was like, man, this is so awesome. I said, well, wait till next year. Because we didn't get a full year to recruit. I was in the 10 championship. Mark was in the ACC championship, national championship. And so we really didn't get a chance to recruit. So the next year, we went from 26 to 11 or 12, and that started the whole thing. That 14 or 15 class propelled us going to now 8 straight bowl games, and and I think people they say, hey, well, we develop like we just like a developing program, which we are. The NFL say we develop more 3-star guys than anybody, but we sign a lot of 4 stars and 5 stars. I mean, we have a mixture of guys that we get, and I just think we look at the type of people we want. We bring them in this culture. The fan base is real good, and I think the families fall in love with that.
I know I've fallen in love with watching 24/7 Sports or 247sports.com just to watch during the offseason for you guys and see who's the prospects. And I mean, I was on that roller coaster, the lows when it was the 60s, the 50s ranked. And then I'd see Marrow out there recruiting these people in Ohio, flipping people from Ohio State. I'm like, okay, like this guy, he knows how to recruit here. Okay. And just see some of the 4s, the 3s. And, of course, you mentioned, Josh Allen, a 2-star coming out into college. And then, was he a first overall pick, or at least Jacksonville, the pick from there? So,
yeah he was a 6th pick. The 6th pick.
Yeah, first round anyways for Kentucky. Like the last time that happens was like Tim Couch back in the 90s or something like that. So, one thing I do want to mention here, kind of talking with this recruiting stuff is, do you think how Kentucky's played in college has helped how Kentucky plays in high school now? Because, we're getting a lot of in-state recruits as well. And, and is that something you all focus on as well?
Yes. So what happened, I remember when, and God rest his soul, when Coach Slarman was starting to really, get sick, Mark asked me to take over because remember I was just in Ohio and Pittsburgh, and then I do like some national recruiting. But he asked me to take over Kentucky. And I remember taking it over, I think maybe 19. And we wasn't getting kids from Louisville. I don't know if you do your research. We really wasn't doing that well in Louisville. And I think that year or the next year, Louisville had 5 guys that were Power 5 guys. And we signed every one of them. And the high school football in Kentucky is really, really starting to take off. And that's why you're starting to see now, we sign guys like you take a guy like Ty Bryan. Ty Bryan is a freshman from Douglas. And he's playing. He's traveling. He's going to travel. He's going to play as a true freshman. You got the Cal Cox. I mean, I can go down. I mean, you got different programs in this state that are really, really good. There's probably about 8 or 9 schools that are producing guys, and other schools are popping up with guys. So football is really getting really strong here in this state. It really is.
Yeah, I think y'all have got like 3 or 4 guys, it seems like, at Douglas the past 2 or 3 years, even Belfry, more Eastern Kentucky where we're at. You guys have been all over in the Louisville, like you alluded to as well. So it makes it fun. Mark, as a high school teacher, he does the announcing too, just to see some of these boys that you mentioned. Corbin, I think y'all have even been in touch with some players. To see these guys in the mountains, and then getting actual national attention, Kentucky recruiting them as well. I mean, to me, that's awesome for the state alone. And then to see them to wear the blue and white to continue to represent us at our home. I mean, when you guys come out of the locker rooms, go running down the field and the Kentucky flags there, like that means something a little more to the boys that are actually growing up here too, I think. So I love that part about it for sure.
Right. So it's, to me, you gotta lock down your state. And, when Mark, like I said, when he had me take it over, it's like, hey, we got to own this state first and foremost, then we're going to branch out. And these kids know how important they are, and most kids want to play for their state. So I look at it and I say, hey, if you're a good player, we're gonna know when you're a freshman, even sometimes 8th grade, and then I'm going to zero in on you, and we're gonna make it very hard for you not to come here.
Awesome.
Coach, I was wondering, how are the guys that transferred in from the portal? Like, was it a tough adjustment for them with the offense, like with Leary and I think Davis, the running back? Like, did they have a tough time adjusting, or they just jump right in?
Well, it's whether you go anywhere. Even when I played in the pros, you went to a new system, you got to learn it. But when you're a football person, it actually your instincts and your smarts takes over. And was it an early adjustment for them guys? Yes. I mean, even the linemen we took. But I'm very confident them guys are where they at right now, and they really, really, really adjusted to this offensive system. And then you got some guys on defense. We run a complex defense. So we got guys, coaches, young coaches. Like when the coaches are on the road, we got young coaches like Josh Estesois, Brezowit, just a lot of young guys who can actually meet with these guys while we're gone, and they can put them up to date. So then we get in OTAs and we get in spring ball or a training camp. These guys are already ready to go.
Now, you mentioned playing in the NFL, and I also know you played in NFL Europe. You want to talk a little? I don't know a thing about NFL Europe. Like, how different was that?
So I think people don't understand. NFL Europe was the NFL. It was owned by the NFL. It was it's just like it was like a farm league to just like AAA baseball.
Okay.
So I mean, we had guys like Kurt Warner. I mean, a lot of guys. NFL Europe was a league to where when I played. So he also coached it there too. So when I played my first 5 years in Buffalo. Then I went to Carolina. Then I got injured, and the Bears signed me, and then allocated me to Frankfurt Galaxy. Was one. We had like I think 10 teams, and NFL teams where they were allowed to allocate some of their young players or guys that needed to go back and play. They can allocate 12 players a year to different teams, and so all teams allocated players. And then you would go in March. Training camp would be in March. You had cuts, so you had to make that team, and then you'll go to your designed places, and then you'll be there till we went to the World Bowl, which is like the Super Bowl. So you went to the World Bowl, that's in June, and then you got 4 weeks to get ready to go back to your training camp in the NFL in July. So it was a very good. Man, I got to see the world, and then when I went back over there as a coach years later, they hired me as one of the coaches. So I coached in Frankfurt and I coached in Berlin, and it was really a great experience. He was coaching pros. I mean, a lot of the guys that was on pro rosters, they were just young guys. They made pro rosters, so it was a great experience.
That's awesome. Coach, I know we're up to 15, 16-minute mark here, and I know you've got a busy schedule going on. You kind of mentioned some stuff earlier, so we'll go ahead and start wrapping this up real quick. We can't let you go without hitting you with some hot seat questions here. You ready?
Yep. Let's go.
All right. Real quick, Mark, I'll let you go. I'll go. You go. I go. Sound good?
You go ahead. I think you've got the list.
Well, I mean, I didn't know if you want to ask anything. All right, Coach. Favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero was it was Superman.
Superman. Okay. Favorite food?
Spaghetti.
Oh, I knew I loved
man after my own heart right there.
There we go. If you didn't play football, what would be your favorite sport?
Probably would play. Well, what you don't know, I was an All-American in basketball in high school. I played basketball. Okay. So I played basketball.
All right. If you didn't coach or do anything with this, what career would you want?
I'd say two things. Either I was going to be in the FBI, or I would probably been some, dealing with the. I mean, I really had this fetish. I love studying history, so it would probably be like a history teacher or probably like a theologian, just studying the history of the Bible.
Awesome. That sounds great.
History, that's my other major. That's where I was at.
It's in the past.
I do have one question. Where did the nickname Big Dog come from?
Dude, I have no idea. So they got here in Kentucky, and somebody gave me that name, Big Dog, and dude, it just took off. I mean, people don't even call me my name no more. They say Big Dog, Big Dog, Big Dog. Like, so it's I have no idea, but that name came here. It came here in Kentucky, but I will tell you, when I was in Nebraska, I had over my office, I had a sign said the Big Dog's Den. And I don't know if some fan found that, or I have no idea.
Gotcha. All right, last one real quick. After coaching, what can we expect from you?
After coaching, probably would do radio or something like that, just talking sports. Or I probably would, I don't know, one day have grandkids and just be a great grandfather or something.
Enjoy retirement, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Staying in Kentucky though, right?
We plan on. I would keep my home. I would keep my home in Kentucky. I think Lexington is one of the best places to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you come on down here to Harlan County in the mountains, I mean, once the leaves change, you drive around all these mountains, you'll love it too. But I understand Lexington, you got the hills. You don't have mountains. You don't have to worry about too much of the horrible roads that we have to deal with around here.
I love it though. I love Kentucky. I love Eastern Kentucky. I went down there when the floodings and I used to go. I went down there with Kelly Craft and Joe. So I mean, I like Eastern Kentucky. It's
Awesome.
good people down there.
Absolutely.
Coach, we appreciate you joining in with us more than you know.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. And you guys come up, look me up, and let's go Big Blue. Let's get some wins this year.
Yes,
Big
sir.
Blue.
All right.
When we get to Lexington, we're going to go out and we'll have spaghetti together, and then we'll let you go on to coach the game later. Okay.
All right, let's do it, buddy. Let's do
All righty. Have a good one. Thank you again so much for joining.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, we are here with you guys. Sorry for the transition we got going on there. We did have to do this recording a little bit earlier today, so I try to position myself, keep my shirt fresh and clean and everything to mock what you all were just watching. So, Mark, awesome opportunity that we got right there to talk with Big Dog Vince, Coach Marrow. So much fun. He was a cool dude before we started recording that, and just the conversation we had with him, and even a little bit after. How was the interview? How did you like it? I mean,
I hated that we couldn't do it live. That was one thing, but it was just awesome to get to talk to him. Very down to earth guy. Like, he hails from Youngstown, Ohio. And, when I found out he grew up with Coach Stoops, they played football for Coach Stoops' dad. I'd seen another interview he did. He likes that small town feel. And I thought he was just awesome because he has that. They've developed this family chemistry kind of with Kentucky football. And it's addictive. Everybody, it used to just be, hey, when's basketball season? And now, we get excited for football season.
Yeah, we get sports year round now when it comes to Kentucky. And, it's not just something that's happened right now. This is something I think even Big Dog talked about 6 or 7 years, the last decade, how Kentucky, I think 2019, he really emphasized it. I mean, we've got a 10-game winning season. One thing he did mention, if we go under 7 games in a season, if we win less than 7 games, it's a down year for us. We've got Kentucky, we've got basketball, we've got girls basketball. It's been good. Our baseball team's been good. Archery's been great. Gymnastics is year in, year out, top of the line. And of course,
volleyball did pretty well.
Was, they've been ranked past 2 years, I think it is now. So, I mean, I think they won the SEC last year, didn't they? Volleyball?
Possibly. I'd have to go back and look that up. But that's one of the things that, I love about it. I even saw one of the linemen for UK in an interview talking about, they were asking that question when they got on the whole where Calipari and Stoops are it's a basketball school, it's football school. He said, man, we're an all around school is what that line was.
Sports school.
He said, look at all the good, and I mean, a lot of schools in the SEC are built like that.
Mm-hmm.
They have several programs that are just amazing in different areas. But it was just an awesome opportunity. Caleb just
there we go. It wasn't the SEC, it was actually NCAA. They won it 2 years ago. So, okay.
Yeah, I knew that they had been very, very good recently, but I'm just saying it's an all-around school that just sports in all aspects. That's one reason I was like, when we started this out, we started talking about just basketball. I said, man, we need to bring in a little bit of everything.
Everything.
Football. I want to do some women's basketball. I've already been in contact with Macy Morris. And
I was going to leave it like a cliffhanger there, but no, you just went ahead and just throwing it out there.
I just let the cat out of the bag. Oh, cat's chat. But anyway,
cat's cat out of the bag. Anyway,
it was just an awesome opportunity to get to interview him. And we're gonna have to go to Lexington now and take him out for spaghetti.
Yeah, absolutely, hands down. Just because we get spaghetti, and what is it? I said it earlier with you. Is it Mahone's, the restaurant up there, or Malone's?
Malone's, I think.
Malone's. Yeah. Maybe we'll go to Malone's, get some nice food with him, and be like, around us three, you can say Big Dog to any of us, and we'll probably turn because we're pretty big fellers. But you know what? I never would have thought, and I'm just going to kind of talk. I know we're live right now, but I'm just going to talk to you, Mark Everett Lawson. I never would have thought in this Catch Chat opportunity that we kind of just threw together, really. I mean, it's something, I've been doing podcasts for 2.5 years now, just with NBA, baseball, the backstop banter, but and different things like that. And I wanted to do something, one, with you, and two, about Kentucky sports. And we're on episode 3, and we've had Jeff Shepard on the second one, and now we've just had Vince Morrow with us.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an awesome opportunity. It's been an awesome experience so far. And like I said, when you first asked me to do it, I was like, dude, I'm a play-by-play guy. I'm not built for podcasts. I'm not built for just talking different things. But I think it's one thing kind of universal in Kentucky. You can sit down with about anybody and talk about sports.
Kentucky sports.
Well, yeah, Kentucky sports. But I'm saying it's just like if you go to Cincinnati, you can go to any area and talk to them about the Reds or the Bengals.
Right.
Same way in Tennessee. You go down to Tennessee, it's all Vols. You can go anywhere in your – like this is something you could just go to the barbershop and have an hour-long conversation about. So it's not hard to do. Like you give me some topics and we can talk about Kentucky sports all night long.
Speaking of Reds, let's just go ahead and say it. Michael Lorenzen just threw a no-hitter for the Phillies. Wish he was still a Cincinnati Red guy, but you know what?
They were going to trade for him, but we did not. But
yes, but I loved his shoes and a great story of his. If you guys know him, he's a starting pitcher, but can also play outfield for the Reds in a few years. And his father had passed away, and I think the very next game was Father's Day, and he hit a home run, very emotional. I'm sure you've seen it on social media somewhere play because it plays nonstop, basically. But wonderful guy, wonderful athlete, and congratulations to him on that, of course. So with that, Mark, I guess you want to go into some of our topics that we actually got here?
Let's move into our topics and get some folks discussing with us.
So let's go here. Here's what I want to start with first. Who is your favorite MLB quarterback of all time at Kentucky? Now, I want to almost do this with a two-part with you. Favorite and who you think the best. Because, they may not be the same answer here.
Oh, my goodness.
To me, it's not tough.
I mean, to me, my favorite is I got to go with Tim Couch.
Okay, see, I'm not with you on that, even though I've got an
autograph. Why. He was a Kentucky boy. Just from over the mountain in Leslie County, we kind of had a connection. We knew people that knew him, and I still got my autograph. Tim Couch football. Like I believe when he went to the Browns, if he'd had an offensive line, he would have had a lot better career. He was probably one of my favorites, just because at the time when he was there, that's when I was really into sports. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It's the 90s.
I'm saying, I was growing up not too much younger than him, you know what I'm saying? Like seeing him go play for UK. He's probably one of my favorites all time in my generation of watching him play. And a close second to that, I think, would be, and not because of how he played, but because of just his style. I liked Jared Lorenzen, man. I love the fact because he got out there and for a big boy, he could
hefty lefty, and that's why I like him. I'm hefty and I'm a lefty.
And I mean, if you're just going skill, let me hear your favorite. Who's your favorite?
It's right there. It's J-Lo. It's I'm about to say Jennifer Lopez on that because they called him J-Lo too. One of my favorite pictures that I ever seen of him was they did. I want to say it was his junior year, and they had all of his offensive line and him in a picture and gave him a lineman jersey number. And it's like, can you spot the quarterback? Because without a helmet, they're kind of different. It's weird to see their actual faces when it comes to football. And I remember as a kid looking like, wow, this guy's a big guy and he can still handle his own and play the quarterback position that everyone dreams to play. Like, I don't care what football you play, you want to be the quarterback at some point in your life just because that is the spot that gets all the attention. It's in every single play and you're making the calls. So Jared Lorenzen, even when he played for, the arena football team, came back after he was a highlight for social media on that. I want to say it was like the River Cats maybe, but Jared Lorenzen, what he's done with the size that he was, rest in peace, Jared. Of course, his battle with, I think it was a heart disease of some sort. He was on a weight loss journey, and it's just his health caught up to him in the end, and he lost that fight. But he was my favorite. You had to love him.
Yeah.
There were so many times that he was about to get sacked because the line was not up to par back then in the 90s, early 2000s. But you had to have three guys to try to get him down. And it was so much fun to watch him break tackles and everything.
It really was. He was fun to watch. Like, I actually have a jersey card of his hanging up here by this senior day thing. I forgot I had it, and I was like, I got to hang that on my wall just because, he was fun to watch.
Absolutely.
He gave chubby men like us hope that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I appreciate the compliment, Johnny. I greatly do. And yes, sir, we start football up. I guess next weekend will be our first official game. I think Harlan County's heading to Middlesboro for a bowl game next Saturday. So that'll be the first official game. They've had scrimmages, but
Johnny, you can actually. My name is Michael. Just so you know, like you can say hi to me too. It's not just Mark. Make me feel bad on here. If it
gets any bigger, Johnny, it'll explode.
But anyways, so that's who my favorite quarterback of all time is, and of course, there's so many. Tim Catch would probably be my second one. There's a lot of good quarterbacks that have excelled. Even Woodson's one of my favorites as well. But who do you think has been the best quarterback in this time that you and I know sports?
I got to say Tim Couch. Again, I think he brought, we had the air raid going on back then. Mm-hmm. He brought back this just hope for the program. You know what I mean? Like it had been in disarray for a while, and he kind of got people interested again. And you got people now like Stoops and Coach Marrow that came back in, and they've got just an atmosphere that's unbelievable. But I really believe that Tim Couch, I was reading some of his stats. His senior season in '98, that was his senior year in college. That was my senior year of high school. He threw for 4,275 yards, 36 touchdowns, while completing 72.3% of his passes. A 72.3% passer completion.
Passer rating.
Yeah, whatever. It's not a passer rating, but pass completions.
Right.
That's unbelievable. That's crazy. 72.3% completions.
Yeah, if you really stop and think about it, if you pass 4 downs at 72% complete, like you're completing almost 75%, obviously. So 3 of the 4 of those passes. Surely you would get a first down if you passed every play on that. You're going to be getting at least 3 to 5 yards on a completion easily, and those are small screens. That's me just throwing random stats as far as that on that, or figures, I guess. But yeah, I would say Tim Couch was, and it could have been, it was the era that I grew up. What year was he a senior? What year were you a senior?
98. 98. Same year I was a senior in high school. So
okay, so I was in sixth grade, sixth, 7th grade. So that's when you really, you start playing organized sports in school, and to watch this guy wear the number 2, come from Leslie County, to go up there to play at Kentucky and be relevant and be good and thrive. Yeah, to me, he has to be the best on there.
What's going on, Quincy? Glad you could join in with us.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm trying to hide it, and you keep hitting shows.
Yeah, we fighting each other there. Okay.
Yeah, the same season, though, I think why Couch stands out to me, he was the SEC Player of the Year that year. Mm-hmm. He also was like an All-American honor that year. And, if I'm not mistaken, he's the only Kentucky football player to ever be the overall number 1 selection in the NFL. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Any honorable mentions you want to say?
Well, man, there's been so many quarterbacks that have been just amazing. Like I said, Jared Lorenzen, mm-hmm. He was just fun to watch. And not only was he fun to watch, but at 6'4", 290 pounds, the man had a cannon. He could throw the ball. And I'm going to be honest, Will Levis, he had a lot of hype, man. There was just something about him, the swagger. I did like. I'm not going to say he's an all-time great because he wasn't here all 4 years. You know what I mean? It's not like you can do that. But, as far as one of the ones that rank up there. Now, I'm sure there are quarterbacks from years before I was around. You got people like Babe Perilli back in the 49 through 51 that played.
You are obviously looking that up right now.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Back to other quarterbacks, Andre Woodson, Mike Hartline. I'll be honest with you, when Lynn Bowden Jr. went back and played quarterback a little bit, that was fun.
It was fun to watch, but I'm not bad mouthing him. Right. Yeah. Just the willpower from him.
Athlete he was. Kind of like Randall Cobb. They were just fun to watch.
Since you mentioned both those names, let's just go ahead and transition to our other topic. I'm going to bring up the banner first, and then I'm going to go get the graphic. Just a start bench cut. We put this on Instagram, but I've got to go get this here. So hopefully, guys, I think we put it on Instagram and Facebook. We did get some comments. Some of the comments actually surprised me because, well, I'll get into it in just a second.
I think a couple of the comments I saw, I agreed with totally.
Okay, so here it pulls up. I've got start bench cut, and of course it's Garrett Johnson, Randall Cobb, and Lynn Bowden. Bowden. That's right. I always want to say Bowden, but it's Bowden. As far as your start, sit, and cut, Mark, I want to hear what you got.
Randall Cobb's my starter, man.
Okay.
He's proven it. He's had a long NFL career. Just great athlete all around. I would bench Bowden. He'd have to be the bench, and I'd have to cut Garrett Johnson.
Thank you, Johnny, for including me in this. I appreciate that.
What about you?
See, when I did this graphic, I actually thought the answer would be Bowden as far as what everyone else. I'm like, you know what? Bowden was a solid athlete. Skills galore. You see his highlight on, again, the reels on Instagram, going back. He actually, I think, was the punter in high school too. And there was a botched snap. He got it up, couldn't get the punt off. So what does he do? He runs I think they gave him credit for a 101-yard touchdown. Instead of punting the ball, let me just go create. So the man was an animal on the field. The heart and desire that he had, it just, he went from wide receiver to run quarterback and run the Wildcat offense basically, and still won games with it. So I thought everyone would lean towards Lynn Bowden on this as far as their comments and stuff. But Randall Cobb was just a different level of athleticism on wide receiver. Ran perfect routes, could get the separations, pick up loose or really low balls, one hand, catch and different things on that. And then I even thought about, and I hate to do this, but I'm going to. Randall Cobb is still in the NFL. I want to say he's at like 11 or 12 year in the NFL. Of course, with Aaron Rodgers, who's going to make any wide receiver excel in the NFL, but he still plays well. He had 1 year with the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you. Love Kentucky players playing with Dallas Cowboys. And Lynn Bowden is barely making teams right now. And I'm not taking anything from him at all. I'm just saying, it's hard to say that you're better than this guy when the other ones had a huge tenure in the NFL alone.
And this is not taking anything away from Garrett Johnson either. It's just
Boone Johnson was great too.
Know him as a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
You've not seen him in any other role. Mm-hmm. Both of these other players, they're more universal. You can use them in different spots. Mm-hmm. I call it, like in baseball, you call it the utility player.
Utility.
Kind of like what they were.
Yeah, Randall Cobb, actually, I think he ran the ball a couple of times, not too much. We didn't know what they were going to do with him coming out of high school. He was from Tennessee, did play running back quite a bit, was a catching running back, and, of course, wide receiver as well. So, yeah, he was just an athleticism. I can't say that word. Why am I even trying to make big words up? Mark, I should stop after two syllables on words. But he was just a freak athlete, and any way you could get him the ball in any area of space, you're going to let him create. He's going to be great. So, yeah. Facebook, I've seen 3 or 4 people saying that Randall Cobb was their pick. I was like, wow, I thought I was going to be the only person to say Randall Cobb. So even you saying it makes me feel better on that as well.
Yeah, when you first shared with me that we were going to do this, I immediately was kind of like, well, I know it's going to be Cobb and Bowden. Mm-hmm. And that was taking nothing away from Garrett Johnson. Like I said, it was just the athleticism of both of those two playing in multiple positions. Mm-hmm. And then when I saw other people were picking the same thing as me, it made me feel pretty good too. So something.
Yeah. So let's see here. Guys, it's a little bit of a different situation. We usually try to do about an hour of an episode. Oh, appreciate that. I didn't even know that there's comment up there. Rob, the Wildcat offense. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah.
I agree with him that his teams were probably weaker all around as a team than Bowden's teams. And I think that did make Cobb stand out a little more. But I think he would have been good on any team.
Oh, yeah. And I am going to quit sharing my screen here. I apologize. I'm going to try to see if I can find for our next segment, if you will, a record prediction as I get it to pull up here.
See, this is one of those areas I always struggle with, record prediction. Because I'm kind of like Coach Morrow there. You're going for Atlanta. You
so that was Coach.
I apologize. I'm trying to get this to work right, and it's glitching on me. Okay, there we go.
But I'm like him. Like, to me, you want to have a perfect season, run the table, but not being a coach, I can step back and be more realistic. Now, me personally, I want to say 8-4.
8-4, okay.
Now, do I think we have the ability to get some big wins? Yeah, I think we do. You know, a lot of people are saying, yeah, but we lost Levis, we lost Rodriguez. Yeah, but you also have Leary stepping into the place for Levis, and you have, I think it's Davis came over from Vanderbilt. So I think, to me, I think we have the ability to give. I think we can show some teams, give them some trouble this year.
You know, I've seen some different predictions, and it just seems so random, really. I'm trying to pull up a schedule here. I don't know if it's showing up on your end yet or not.
It's
No, it's not. Okay, let me get a little bit closer here. I've seen people go from like 6 wins to 10 wins, and I don't understand how people can be so different on this. Wow, that's a 2021 schedule. That's about dumb. Let's go back here.
Well, I mean, you got to realize everybody's looking at it from through different aspects. You know, some people are like, "Oh, they're gonna let me down." This is going, but I'm just trying to be realistic. I mean, because when you get to those rivalry games, that's a toss-up every time. You never know what's going to happen.
It is.
It's all about who's ready
and who's healthy too. I mean, that takes a big
part of it.
Okay, I'm not getting my computer to work right. Let me just go to Bleacher Report real quick and pull up the schedule, and just at least so I can have a conversation with you on this.
They play Ball State first. That'll be on September 2nd. We are less than a month away from the opening of the season. So they got Ball State on September 2nd. That should be a win. They have EKU, Eastern Kentucky University, on September 9th. And that's actually one of the questions I forgot to mention to Coach Morrow is like, a lot of people don't know it, but like CJ Conrad, he's the tight ends coach at Eastern now.
Oh, yeah, that is right.
Tight end in UK. So, you know, that's got to make your coach proud when you become a coach for tight ends, just like he is. We play Akron on September 16th.
Should be 3 W's.
We should be 3 dubs in a row. Now, on September 23rd, we go to Vanderbilt. Now, we all know what happened last year with Vanderbilt. I was at that game, sitting in the snow, watching that game. That was tough. That was a tough loss for me personally because I was like, man, I get tickets to a game, get great seats, and we had a bad game. I mean, that happens in sports. A lot of people automatically, man, they just want to throw people under the bus. I mean, everybody has bad games.
Right.
It's part of it. And it's just all of us seem to have a bad game that game, and it just didn't come together. Florida is the next.
Well, what do you think, though, Vandy? You didn't really say. I mean, I think that's for.
I think we win that one.
I've seen people actually say Vandy's beating us, and I
don't think so. I think Davis will go in there with a chip on his shoulder. Transfer.
Yeah.
I think we'll beat Vandy. I mean, a lot of people don't realize we're deeper now at wide receiver and the tight end position than we've been in a while. Leary, you know, like Coach mentioned, they're familiar with the system now. I think they're going to be able to throw the ball around a little bit.
I think so too. Of course, you know, he talked about running still, and one thing that he did mention was that the big blue wall, may be back after a couple of transfer portals that came through. I think you mentioned to the tight ends, big pickups on both tight ends there. So and it was ESPN, I think, one of the announcers there that was picking Vandy over Kentucky. I'm like, I know it's at Vandy, and I know they beat us last year, and Vandy is getting better, but it's still Vandy football. So I'm totally comfortable with starting out 4-0 going into coming back home to play Florida on September 30th. Now,
and
obviously,
Florida's going to reload.
And we've had Florida's number for probably the last 5 years. At least big games. We've won in the Swamp past couple of times. I think we're 5-0 right here. What do you think?
We got a good shot. And I mean, if you're 5-0 going in against Georgia, that's going to help give you a boost. And that's going to get everybody talking like you could go, if you come in 5-0, the Kentucky-Georgia game could end up being like a game of the week.
I look
for that. Maybe college game day going down. Let's just be honest. Georgia's always good.
Yeah, they're number one predicted right now in the SEC, East and West. So, I mean,
it's going to be a tough, like, do I believe Kentucky could beat Georgia? Yes. Do I believe they will? Man, that's why I hate calling games like that. I've never been one. My team's going to beat your team. I just take it a game at a time.
What a loser of a comment. I just take it again. Yes, we're going to beat them. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a perfect game played by Kentucky, and we're going to win. Ready for this?
Well, and the
28-21.
Like you said, you got to go in healthy.
Right.
That's a key. You're going to have to go in healthy. You're going to have a perfect – you're going to have to play a perfect game. If you're going to play a team like Georgia, you got to go in there and, you got to be ready. Now, after the Georgia game, we travel we back home, and we're against Missouri.
Well, do you think they beat Georgia or no? I'm going to be honest. I think it's a loss. I'm going to talk high and think that we win, but that's going to be a tough game for us to win, even in Georgia on the road.
I agree with Caleb. Last year, Kentucky played Georgia the closest that they got played all year. I agree with that 100%. I believe we can play with them. That's one thing that's got me excited about Kentucky football. We are competing with teams
every game.
It's not you're just going in and getting beat by 40. That's what everybody was used to on the early years in UK.
Yep.
Like when I was growing up. Like you just were like, hey, it's football season. Woo, nobody cared. Now, you're competing. You're going in there making teams. I think you're raising some eyebrows. People are realizing we're now a valid contender in the SEC. We can do things.
I think we're one of the most physical teams in the SEC now, and that alone, it's so wonderful to have that presence. The respect that we're getting on that as well.
I agree. Now, the Missouri game, I'm kind of like you. I think Georgia possibly be a loss. I hate to ever say we're going to lose. I want to say we're going to win every game.
Of course.
Missouri.
So like filling out March Madness brackets. I don't care how bad Kentucky basketball is. They're winning
it. Missouri comes into town on October 14th. I think that
to me, that's scary. That's a trap game to me. Yeah. The only thing that I think saves us as far as being trapped in that game, if we win or lose to Georgia, is we have that bye week before Tennessee too. Like that bye week, I think is so precious for us because we come off Georgia, we go against Missouri, and it's not that in-between game where you got two top of the tier. And Missouri's no slouch, of course, but you've got the Georgia, you got the Tennessee, that team in between you usually forget about. And at least there's a bye that we can do that more focus on Tennessee. So I do think that's really good there. I'm worried about that Missouri game, though, just because
I've heard a lot of good things about Tennessee's quarterback, the young guy they got in. They say he's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I'm talking the whole NCAA, not just SEC. Everybody's like, oh, they lost Hendon Hooker. They lost some of their wide receiver core. But the coach down there in Tennessee, he's reloading. And, they've got a pretty good squad. So that's going to be another – even though it's at home, it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen in a rivalry game. But I'm going to pick Kentucky.
Of course. We can't say Tennessee on our very first talk about Tennessee in any sport on our show. But so going through October 28th, I've got them losing one game, and that's to Georgia. So I think that's what we said, 4-0 going in Florida. So 5, 6, 7-1 going into November. That's a great spot to be in, I think. Going on down through here, we've got, I think it's, Mississippi State.
Yep. Mississippi State will be November 4th.
I hate to say it, but it's so scary with that offense. Who coaches them now?
Is it Leach?
I think so. That's what because that offense, he does like an air raid offense. And
you're playing at Mississippi State, so
he can score 50 points or they don't score at all, it seems like. So I do think Kentucky's the better team all around, and their defense has reamped up quite a bit. I think we win that game, but I do think that's a scary game for us that we could easily lose because the very next week we play Alabama. But I'm going to say we are 8-1 going into this game.
Now, the Alabama game's kind of everybody's automatically Alabama. They're going to pick Alabama.
Right.
Because it's Alabama. Nick Saban. They're going to automatically pick Alabama. I saw Alabama go into Tennessee last year, and the atmosphere in Tennessee was absolutely amazing. If we can get that same kind of atmosphere at the Kentucky game, I believe we can give them a run for their money.
Going into the game 8-1, I think it could be very, very interesting. Oh, yeah, Leach. He did pass away.
I did forget about that, yes. Thanks, Jay. I forgot.
Thanks, Jay.
I knew he was a coach at one point, so he's saying it's now Zach Arnett, but I'm sure it'll be kind of the same style as Mike Leach.
Right. Yeah, I forgot all about that. But yeah, I think Alabama is a winnable game, being 8-1 going into that game. But I am going to say that we're going to lose that to Alabama. I do think it's going to be a very close game, but I'm going to give the edge to Alabama on this. I got them 8-2 right now.
What about the South Carolina game?
I know you're going to.
South Carolina.
I'm actually going to have them as a loss here.
Here's what scares me about when you go into South Carolina. You're at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
People are tired. This is where injuries can pop up, and you got to be careful. Like you were talking about trap games earlier, I feel like that's trap game. I think we have the better team.
I agree.
But I don't know.
I think they lose this because after losing to Alabama, they're thinking, well, now we're winning out. This is no big deal. And they fall asleep on South Carolina, who is not of past South Carolina. They're actually a good team this year.
And Louisville's the next game.
I think we
got that.
Yeah. That's all we got to say about that.
Yeah, we got that.
So I've got them at 9-3 as my prediction. What do you have them at?
I said 8-4. Just because I believe they're, and like I said, I'm saying 8-4 to be conservative.
Which is crazy for Kentucky.
Do what?
I said, which is crazy that that's the kind of era we're in with Kentucky football now, that 8 is being conservative. I love it.
And here's the thing. I want to see them go 11-1. I want to see them go 12-0. And never mention that orange. Yeah, it's the sad part is that quarterback for Tennessee this year is legit, though. I personally want to see them run the tail. I'd love to go play for the SEC championship.
Oh my goodness! I think we have a chance this year. I really do.
And when have we, like these past few years, where we keep saying, "I think we got a chance. I think we got a chance." I mean, there's always that hope. And then you have, like, if you have one loss, then you have a bunch of people jump off the bandwagon again. It's really hard with the fan bases. I see it with UK and I see it with Cincinnati. A lot of people forget these are young men. They're not like 50-year-old people you work with. You got to be all in for your team or all out. You can't be flip-flopping. And I agree with him. Anthony Richardson was legit. We made him look stupid in Florida. We really did. He looked – because I was even – during that game, I was like, I thought this kid was supposed to be like the top prospects. And our defense had him on his heels all night long. So – but being conservative, I'm going to say 8-4. Praying for a lot better than that, though.
I mean, there's not much better you can get on that. But, I'm going with 9-3 because I'm going to be high on this year's team. I really think this is the best all-around team that we're going to have. I think it's going to be offensively more spread out as far as balanced. I think probably run 60%, pass 40%.
And the transfer portal was really good to us this year.
I'm really high for this team. I'm excited about trying to get to a couple of games. Maybe we get us some media passes, get up there and be like, hey, big dog, let's get us backstage here a little bit.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, so we'll see what we can get to go on that. But, Mark, that's really all I've got for the episode. Again, awesome that we just aired an episode that we had Vince Marrow, Coach Vince, the recruiter, on our episode 3. This show has been already awesome of what it's been allow us to talk with people, how it's been able to let us meet some of these big guys with Kentucky. Excited about next episode, which you've already dropped the spoiler alert on that. We are in contact trying to get Macy Morris to come on the show. We just got to work it out. Knowing now that we can do this recording and air it like this, I think we should be good for Wednesday.
With her because I know she said she had something going on next Wednesday evening. So plus school starting back for me next Wednesday, so no way I can do it at 11 o'clock in the morning again.
Gotcha.
I might be frowned upon when I'm supposed to be teaching Algebra 1 if I'm interviewing a former UK lady.
That's okay. What are they going to say?
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is we're going to try to get that in the works. And if not, maybe on the next episode. We appreciate you guys tuning in, commenting. This 100%. Is what we wanted to be, just a big roundtable discussion of UK sports.
Like, honestly, I don't want to be where we're looking at all the stats and like getting analytical too much, because really I think analytics hurt sports somewhat. I want to be this. This is a water cooler conversation, the barbershop, where we're in here debating and just talking amongst friends here, and just really hear everyone's different opinions, ideas, and just communicate. One thing I talked to Mark is we're going to try, or I want to at least. Mark's a little hesitant on this, but we would like to be able to interact with you more than just comments. I've been tinkering around a little bit where we can get a phone call come in and you actually talk with us. But of course, we are trying to keep his G-rated as possible. Both of us are of the faith, and we don't want to have anything out there that's just going to be too, harmful to one of our testimonies, for one thing. But just want to be able to keep this as kid-friendly as well, because that's one thing we love about Kentucky sports is, since we've done our second episode, this is now 3, I've had anywhere from 15-year-old people talking to me about this up to 70-year-olds talking to us about this. So,
well, that's the thing about UK sports, man. It's across the ages. It's just something everybody knows a little something about. Everybody's got their own favorite players. Everybody's got their own ideas. It's just fun.
So, Mark, with that being said, I said we go ahead and call this an episode. We are just under the 1 hour. I can't believe we actually made it that long with the interview and didn't doing our extra stuff. I didn't think we'd last that long. So awesome. Where can they find you at, Mark?
You can find me at mlawson15 on Twitter, or I'm on Facebook just under Mark Lawson.
Okay. Instagram?
I have an Instagram, and I believe that my Instagram tag is Big Daddy Lawson. I'm not really sure.
Big dog, Big Daddy. Well, it's right there. Watch out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can find me MD Lawson00 pretty much on any social media platform. Of course, Facebook's just my name. I do have another podcast I do on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and it's just straight NBA. It's called MNC Hoops. Appreciate any kind of follows on that. Guys, we are also on YouTube. Please, please, please go subscribe to our YouTube. We've got to get that booming just as much as you all have on Facebook. We do appreciate that. YouTube.com/@CatsChatPod. So be on that. And we're talking about maybe doing a TikTok. We kind of mentioned that, where we can do some small reels, cut up our episodes, maybe give some top 10 players of each spot or something to that effect. So again, guys, thank you all so much. That does wrap up our episode. And
you guys, let me just, if you guys have any ideas, topics you'd like us to bring out, just let us know. Please share this, get it out to everybody you can. We want to know what everybody wants to. We want this to be as interactive as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% on that. And if you guys know anybody else like pretty big with Kentucky, let me know. And I don't care to send them a text, because
he's shameless. He'll message anyone.
Shameless. But with that being said, guys, love God, love others, and love Kentucky sports. Y'all have a great day.
God bless.